This is Chapter 18, Section 3, Building the Tree of Life notes. So we're going to start by talking about the grouping of our species. We're continuing to talk about how we classify things. The broadest category that we have at this time is domain. Domain is what includes all the kingdoms. There are 3 domains and there are 6 kingdoms in our classification system. The 3 domains are bacteria, Archaea, and Eukarya. The 6 kingdoms are Eubacteria, Archaea bacteria, Protists, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. In our modern evolutionary classification system, we know that things are rapidly changing because of the DNA discoveries and things like that. And one of the things that the goal in the end is to present a single evolutionary tree, to be able to show how all these things are related on one cladogram. So what you see below is the current hypothesis in how the kingdoms and the domains are all related. So let's discuss the domains. The domain bacteria includes the kingdom Eubacteria. Eubacteria are unicellular prokaryotes whose cell walls contain peptoglycan. Eubacteria are a diverse group that can survive in many different environments. We call these these are your like common bacteria. These are the ones we find all over the place. The Archaea bacteria is the kingdom that contains Archaea bacteria. This domain is considered to be the more ancient bacteria. They are more closely related to our eukaryote ancestors than the Eubacteria are. Archaea are very diverse in their shape and their requirements. Often these ones are using chemosynthesis in order to make their own food. They are also what we refer to as extremophiles, because these can live in extreme environments. These are the ones that we are going to find by hydrothermal vents, in places where things that nothing else can survive. We find this type of bacteria. The domain Eukarya consists of 4 kingdoms. It is the domain where we have our nucleus. So the other 2 domains, Archaea and bacteria, they are our prokaryotes, so they lack a nucleus. The domain Eukarya all have a nucleus. All your eukaryotes are classified in the domain Eukarya. The domain Eukarya consists of the 4 kingdoms: Protists, Fungi, Plants, and Animal. What you see there, Protista, Plantae, and Animalia, those are the Latin names. The protists are organisms that are unicellular. They could be in a colony, or they could be multicellular. Really, we classify the protist category as our catch-all category. There really are a group that when we're not sure where they belong, but they have a nucleus, that's where we put them. They can't really be classified as plants, animals, or fungi, but they share some of those characteristics, and their cells have a nucleus. The fungi kingdom, they can be multicellular or unicellular. Their eukaryotes absorb nutrients from the environment. So they are not autotrophs, they are heterotrophs. They have to use other things in order to get their food. They're not able to move, they have cell walls, and they do not undergo photosynthesis. So don't mistake your molds and your mushrooms and that for using photosynthesis. These are heterotrophs. They have to use something else to get their energy. They have to consume. They're consumers. Members of the plant kingdom are the base of all of our terrestrial or land habitats. Plants are multicellular. They have a cell wall composed of cellulose. Most of them are autotrophs, but there are some that are heterotrophs, like your carnivorous plants, like the Venus flytrap. The plant kingdom includes the green algae and mosses, ferns, plants, and your flowering plants. Your animal kingdom are a very broad, very diverse category of animals. Many times their organ systems are complex, but you do have very simple animals like your jellyfish and that. Animal cells do not have cell walls. This accounts for their ability to move the way they can. Most animals can move about, at least during part of their life cycle. Again, these animals are extremely diverse. They're found in nearly every area of the planet, and they have very different adaptations in order for them to survive. A way to help us classify things is called a dichotomous key, or a two answer key, excuse me. And it allows you to compare and classify things based on two choices. And it's always a series of yes or no questions. And by answering this series of yes or no questions and following along, you're able to determine which group your organism or your object belongs to. We will practice with this in class. You will have some worksheets and that to do with these for practice. The one thing I want to remind you about is that in none of this do we classify viruses. Viruses are an exception. A virus is not a living thing. We do not classify viruses in any of these things because they do not have cells, and therefore they are not considered to be a living thing, so they are not placed in our biological classification systems.